Hey folks, this is Dave Gleason, head coach at Athletic Revolution in Pembroke, Massachusetts. And today I'm coming at you with another video where I'm going to ask you to think a little bit and really dive into the way that you're coaching and what's most optimal for your young athletes at every level. What I want to talk to you about today is the concepts, if you will, of strength training versus or movement training, skill-based training. Whether it's changing direction, acceleration, vertical leap, landing skills. The technique involved with some of our lifting mechanisms or lifting exercises like the squat, the deadlift, breaking that down into just a hip hinge. We could go on and on and on about the different activities that we might fall under the realm of skill development, movement training. But, you know, what importance or what percentage, if we're going to put a percentage on it at all, do we put on strength training versus movement-based training? You know, should we do 60% strength training with our kids versus 40% movement training, which might include also tissue quality, mobility, activation, corrective exercise, that type of thing? How do we tip the scales either way on that? Now here's my perspective according to what I see most often here. Now keep in mind, in my facility we have everything from your non-team sport athlete, actually non-exerciser, to your elite high school athlete. We actually have college and pro athletes as well, but I'm talking about the kids that are 6 to 18 years old. Now let's talk about the older kids a little bit just for today. Strength training is vitally important. But I want you to remember it's one component of a complete program that you should have set up for your kids. Especially on the younger age. Most of our athletes, again, even the successful team sport athletes, have not been specific to one sport or inclusive to just one sport yet. We only have a few of those kids that are juniors, almost seniors, and they know they've got a chance to get to the next level, that college level. So that's what we're preparing them for. Their programming is going to be a little bit different. But especially the younger kids, keep in mind that the skill needs to be there as well as some strength training. Now again, I'm not going to apply any percentages today because of course that's going to change depending on whether they do actually have an off season, which most kids don't these days. Most sports these days are year round. Now can we still try to get them to peak for maybe once a year? Yes. But I still think a lot of traditional periodization and linear progressions are not applicable because of all the outside variables that come into play when we're talking about young athletes. Things like sleep, nutrition, stress, normal development and growth, hormonal changes, all these variables that we can't control, so it's very difficult to program months out at a time and place, if you will, percentages on how much strength training is going to be done, how much movement-based or skill acquisition training is going to be done. We also have to think about how much time we have our young athletes under our care. If I'm lucky, I get them for 2 or 3 hours a week. Okay, we're a long-term athletic development model. We do have kids that come in 3+ days a week, but again, those are our more accomplished, older athletes. Okay? The average is probably about a little over 2 times a week. There's a lot of time during the rest of their lives that we don't have them. We don't have them in our care. So we're counteracting a lot of outside forces, okay? A lot of outside variables. For my money, when we prioritize what we need to make sure that they have a good grasp on is skill. Now sometimes, again, that skill development has to do with how to properly squat, how to properly deadlift. We'll teach cleans. We'll teach push jerks and push presses. You name it, we teach it, but it's got to be the skill first. See, the thing is, if we're externally loading our kids without the skill, we're doing them an injustice and leading to potential injury in the future. All right? If, for chance, they're not able to accelerate correctly, or more importantly, decelerate and change direction effectively and proficiently and safely, I have no business externally loading them so that when they produce that movement on the field or in their practices, they're not only still doing it incorrectly, but now they're producing potentially more force. potentially putting themselves in a situation which is worse off. In my opinion, the strength training as part of a comprehensive program will help make all the other stuff mean more. When they're in their practices and in their games and they're moving better, it means even more because now they can produce more force. They can accomplish those tasks with more strength, more muscular endurance, so forth and so on. Okay? Now, whether you agree with me or not, I want you to think about the way that you layer your programs. Go back, reflectively coach, think about what's going on in your programming to meet the kids where they need you the most. Where are their biggest needs? And do what's optimal, not what is great or good or what will get you by or maybe elicit some biomotor improvements, whether it's strength, speed, whatever, but what's optimal for your kids for the long term. I'm going to finish with this. Don't forget about when their athletic career someday does end. It does end no matter what level. If they go pro, it's going to end at some point. Make sure that you're preparing them, you're stacking the cards in their favor to be active the rest of their lives. Not just for this year, this week, next year, or the year after, okay? Again, another one of those videos where I'm not going to give you a ton of answers. I gave you my opinions on some things, and I really want you to think about your own programming and the kids that are in your program and what's best for them. I really sincerely appreciate you watching all of these videos, not just this one. If you're looking for more information, I'd be remiss in not mentioning the IYCA today, the International Youth Conditioning Association. So whether it's their level 1, 2, and 3 youth fitness certifications, their high school strength certification, which is phenomenal, they're newly just put out their youth strength and agility specialist certification, and the list goes on. There's a lot of resources there, so if you're looking for more knowledge on taking your game to the top to help the kids in your community, check out iyca.org today. You won't be disappointed. Thanks so much again for watching, and we'll be back soon with more videos. Bye-bye.